Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host,
Grandma Gail.
So tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Love is in the air.
Everything is pink and red.
So let's talk about all things Valentine's Day. What are you and Poppy doing this year?
Well, probably, first of all, Poppy had a knee operation, so he's sort of been not too going out. He hasn't done very much, but I'm sure we're going to have dinner, either with a couple of friends or
You rarely
maybe
do
ourselves.
it, the two of you. I feel like it's always a family thing. At least
Well,
my
it's not
whole
necessarily
life-
a family.
No, it's not in other families, but in our family, I feel like every year we all go out together.
Yeah,
And
well,
Mom and Dad never do it alone.
Oh, well, you know what? I think they used to, but after a while, you have nothing to say, so it's good to have another couple or a couple of couples.
I feel like it's always, I'm trying to think of the last few years. I think since I've been single for a while, I always go with you guys.
Yeah, we did a lot of
Mom and Dad.
Valentine's Day at Biblique in Palm Beach because we're always down here, and you sometimes come down here that weekend.
Right.
So it's you just go to some pretty place and have a lovely dinner. That's really the ritual. And sometimes we'll have a little Kir Royale, which is champagne with a little grenadine in it, and makes us.
That's called a Kir Royale.
Kir Royale.
I've never had
K-I-R.
that.
So delicious. I used to drink it all the time, but now I don't drink anymore. So if I do, it will be a special night.
I think last year we made chocolate covered strawberries.
Right. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
My parents definitely got me flowers. No one else got me flowers,
Right.
but that was nice.
I don't think
You
anybody
got
got
me
me.
chocolates.
Yeah, I don't think anybody got me flowers. Or maybe Poppy did. You know what? I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me at this point. Is everybody's happy?
Don't you think it would be nice if he got you flowers?
No, it's nice. I know he cares about me. I don't need those things at this point. I understand our relationship. It's not like we're a newly married couple or a newly engaged couple
But that doesn't
or
mean you
dating.
stop trying or showing somebody.
No, but he always gets me a card.
Yeah.
So I mean that, which is fine. That's good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think you're just not a sappy person. I don't think it's about being together for that long because
I think
you don't get him cards.
no.
So-
Yes, I do. I get a Valentine. He gets
you
one
do?
card. He
Oh,
usually
okay.
buys me two. He's a bigger sport.
Right. And I had a Galentine's last year in New York a
Right.
few days before, and I had like 30 girls over to the apartment.
I remember that
and
you made that beautiful board with all the candies.
a candy table, a cheese board.
Right, which is lovely.
It was cute. I mean, I like hosting. I don't do it enough. So
Well,
that-
you should.
yeah.
I mean, you have a beautiful place to do it in, so all you just have to, it's a lot of effort, and you have to really think it through.
The year before, so 2023, I went to dinner with one of my girlfriends because her boyfriend was away. And I feel like that's a good thing also if you are single, like find another single girlfriend and do like a dinner that treat yourself to something
Do a
you
special
wouldn't
night.
typically
What? You don't need
do.
to be about being with a man. It's Valentine's Day. It's a day of love. You
Right.
can do it with your children. You can do it with your mother. You can do it with your father. Whoever is available that you love, you should do something special with. It really it doesn't necessarily have to be a partnership
Yeah.
type of love affair, love dinner.
But then you always want, like I'm thinking back to 2022, 2021, I was always like seeing someone but not enough to date them. And it was like I would have wanted to do something for Valentine's Day, but it was never a healthy, good relationship.
I don't think you had so many good choices. They weren't so terrific. I never had those problems. So I knew everybody. I got married so young, I didn't have to worry about it. And you know what? It's fine. You live through it. You understand. Well, people don't like to make a commitment because people make such a big deal about it. Even when I remember going to school, I don't know if they do this anymore. We used to have to bring in enough Valentines for everybody in the class.
Yeah.
And you write.
I'm sure they do that still.
I don't
school.
know. My mother used to buy, they used to come in boxes, and you used to get like 30 in a little box,
Yeah.
and you used to write your name
So
on it.
cute.
And, yeah, I think they build this holiday up too much. It is a religious holiday, actually, the foundation of Valentine's Day. He was a saint. So I think it's about love, and which can be for anything. And I think my problem with it is that people who aren't in a serious relationship feel sad, and that's not the way it should be. It should be just a day of happiness. And so I hope all of you do something with somebody
you make
you like.
the best of it, but I remember since the last Valentine's Day I spent with someone I was dating was 2019.
Okay.
So this is the first year I've had a boyfriend since then during February.
Okay.
And every year I'm
but
like,
don't build it up. See, that's the worry. You build it up, and then nobody can meet that expectation.
I'm not building it up. I'm just excited to not be
Alone.
upset.
All right, good.
Like I feel like usually, and it wasn't that I was upset being single. I was obviously single because I was choosing to be single. But on that day, when you open Instagram, and every
because
single
there's too much
person
conversation about
is
it.
posting the flowers that someone got them or the nice restaurant they went to.
And that's where social media, by the way, I think is destructive. There are a lot of wonderful things on social media, and I'm enjoying a lot of it. But the truth is, when you start to envy what other people are doing, it becomes bad. And that is why a lot of parents have to watch their younger children, how much time they spend on social media. Certainly people in their 20s, they're constantly seeing all these beautiful women in their gorgeous bodies, all made up. I mean, it's something that most people can't live up to. So on Valentine's Day, it's a time of loving yourself. I'm very big on loving yourself. You should really love yourself. If whatever wherever you are in your relationship scale, go out and treat yourself, even if it's to go buy a book that you've been thinking about or rent a movie that you like. Nobody else has to like it but you. And that would be Valentine's. And it's fine to do that. I'm giving everybody permission, Kim.
Do you think the social media posts are creating more
envy?
But then let's say you do something fun for Valentine's Day. Like, do you think people feel pressure to then post it and show everybody the fun time they're having?
No, I hope not. I hope not, but I think they do.
Yeah.
I think people who tend to be on social media tend to post too much. It's a little too much that I need to know about everybody's personal life.
But we all like it. We all like.
Well, people like it but then they like it until they hate it.
Yeah.
Until they get very aggravated with the person who's posting all these fabulous things.
Right. Also, for Galentine's Day, you and I did this piñata thing in the apartment.
Fun. Oh, that was hysterical.
So I feel like if you have girlfriends over, it's fun to do an activity. Maybe it's not a piñata, but maybe you're doing arts and crafts or something that would create a memory besides dinner.
Well, first give a little background. We did it for.
Well, we were doing a advertisement actually for Burt's Bees, which is the
terrific.
chapstick.
And which down here and even up north you need to put on constantly, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, they have these minis.
Right.
That are really cute and great giveaways for Galentines or whatever it is. And so they sent us.
We couldn't crash the.
They sent us a piñata filled with them, but then it was hard to find a place in the apartment to actually hang the piñata.
Well, you can't. So we had it on a broom, then we had it on a string.
Well, it was on.
But you have to make it high, and how do you? Unless you.
Well, Dad was holding the broom with the piñata on it.
We were trying. We had it attached to the microwave so it wouldn't move.
Yeah.
Then as we sort of got it in a position, it wasn't a great position, but it was better than anything we could think of. Then we couldn't get the thing open, and we kept banging and banging. Then it opened. And what a mess, but it was great fun, and it was really good.
Yeah, it wasn't as hard as I
thought it was very hard. And then you're supposed to say, we also gave our aggressions out every time we hit it.
Yes.
Which was interesting.
A lot of love aggression.
Right. Mine wasn't even so much love.
Learned with love this year?
Well, I don't know if I learned anything. I just think you try to be more tolerant of other people. That's really what you really have to practice. And it's not about love. I love my family. I love many of my friends are wonderful friends. But you have to, you have to work at it a little bit. And it takes effort. You just can't just think it's going to happen without any effort. So I think that needs to be really spoken about.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned a lot of love lessons, but I'm more in that phase that I'm still learning.
Well, you're still in relationship phase and beginning relationships.
And since my relationship is long distance, I've definitely realized the quality of time you spend together is more important than the quantity, because it's about whether you're together or apart, feeling supported and feeling all the things you're supposed to feel versus just being with someone all the time to have another body in the room. Okay, let's move on to the drama club. So we're going to talk about some celebrity gossip, drama of the week. So you didn't hear it from me, but let's talk about those engagements of the year. We're on that topic of celebrity love and relationships for Valentine's Day. So
I don't know any of these people, I'm sure, but throw them out, Kim. Give me the names.
Well, you know Selena Gomez.
Oh, yes, and I love her.
And Benny Blanco.
I don't know who he is, but I'm sure he's if it's her choice, I'm sure he's a good guy.
Why wouldn't it be her choice?
No, I mean, if she picked him out, I'm sure he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's pretty smart. He's been writing basically music for a lot of very top people over the last, most of the songs that have been popular were written by him, even though he didn't perform them.
Oh, that's terrific.
But people have opinions about them because on the surface, she's a little better looking than him.
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better. But that doesn't mean, this is what we often say. You can't love somebody by their outside appearance. It's what's inside. And she certainly did that. She sees that quality in him, and I admire her for that. He's not ugly,
no,
but she's beautiful, so it's pretty hard to compete with that.
Right. The other one was Tom Holland and Zendaya. He's Spider-Man, and you know her.
Right.
She's in everything, but they actually didn't do a whole big proposal announcement. Just on the Golden Globes red carpet, she was wearing a giant diamond ring.
Good for her.
So that was just her way of announcing it.
Good.
And they definitely keep things a little bit more private for two of the biggest celebrities.
Well, I think because they realize once it hits the world and they're all scrutinizing, there's nothing, somebody will find something bad. So it's very smart if you're really serious about a relationship to keep most of it private, because it's really nobody else's business except you and your family. And once you throw it out to hundreds of millions of people, there's always either someone's picking on something. They didn't like his hair. They didn't like her dress. Too much cleavage, not enough cleavage. So I admire them for keeping it somewhat private. It's good.
There was Haley Steinfeld and Josh Allen. So definitely a lot of celebrity engagements.
Well, it's nice.
And probably breakups too.
Well, I was just going to say, probably by the next holiday, which is Easter, they won't even be together.
But
hopefully not. Hopefully not. Oh, and I was thinking, Kim, do they get real diamonds, not the man-made diamonds? I was thinking of that the other day because they're looking pretty good, those man-made diamonds.
I think lab-grown diamonds are good if you have a budget, but I don't think Tom and Zendaya are working on a budget.
So. Okay, good.
Yeah. The Grandma Report. Today we're talking about an article from BBC about why rituals are important in relationships.
Okay.
And basically this Michael Norton's research shows that shared rituals are essential for fostering connection and strengthening bonds. And those can be simple things from doing a cheers every time you are having dinner with your partner, having a Christmas celebration every year.
I think it's about having dinner at night together.
Well, it's not only about dinner. You could have a personal ritual I do is every morning I like to drink coffee and watch reality TV.
But the ritual, that's by yourself ritual. But I think, aren't they talking about together as a couple rituals?
This is just generally relationships, but I think
okay.
I think it brings purpose also to those relationships when you have those things that you do together. So, but it doesn't have to be dinner. Like you can send each other a text every day. You can give each other a hug every time you go out the door to go to work. Like something you just always do.
All right. Sounds good.
To kind of have that structure and have that stability during times that might be more challenging. That
I also think families need rituals, not only couples.
Yeah.
I think families that have rituals, kids are much more responsive to sharing because they feel comfortable in the relationships that they've got.
That probably makes sense. So some ones that people can start this Valentine's with their partner to do every year. I mean, definitely doing a date night makes sense.
Date night. I also think the breakfast in bed thing, if it falls on a weekend, is really nice. You
Yeah.
serve each of you get something that you like together, and you sit and you have a chat or whatever you want to do, but have breakfast together, which is nice. Because sometimes in our busy lives, we don't get a chance to really have breakfast together and turn off the phones and really be together for one another.
Yeah. I think cooking a meal or baking something is cute. Watching a movie together, making a photo album together.
Well, I think
writing each other a love letter, like things like that.
You're getting very hammy, Kim.
I like that
I
stuff.
know you do, but that's very hard. I don't know any man that does that, but there might be some.
My boyfriend's like that. Like I feel like we.
Well,
would
that's why
enjoy
you like
doing
him.
Stuff like
Okay,
that.
well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I never dated anybody that wanted to write or do an album together. That would have been shocking
I think
to me.
a lot of my friends, for their engagements or for birthdays, give their boyfriend or husband like an album of here's all the places we traveled together this year.
Nice.
Like a photo album and a DIY project is very popular.
Usually the women are giving it to the men. I don't know too many men that do it unless they listen, there are very many men that are very creative, more so than the women. So good luck.
Let's get to the rewind. This week, on the theme of Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about all of our favorite classic rom-coms about love.
Then I think I have to watch all the Doris Day, Rock Hudson movies once again.
So cute.
Because,
for those who don't know, explain.
Pillow Talk and also Doris Day and James Garner. Those were the combinations. Those two men with Doris Day. I think everybody in the 60s and the late 50s were in love with the couples. And we don't have to discuss.
It was the same couples every time.
Yes, they built a whole series of films together, and it was always, Doris Day being the woman. She was a very strong woman, even then. She always had a career. She always was doing something that was very specific to her talent. But somehow they were always ended up being in love and romantic. And no matter what plot was thrown at them, it always ended up the same. So if you want a brainless, it's absolutely no brain involved in watching these movies, but very cute. And her clothes are beautiful. For women who want to go back and see a retrospective of beautiful 60s clothes, that's the films to watch.
I love those too. And I will say, same with the later rom-coms, but a lot of it was always like they started off hating each other.
Right.
And then they fell in love. Like
it's
I think
the same storyline all the time.
But like that's not a great thing to model relationships after. If someone's mean to you and act like they hate you, you shouldn't try to turn that around.
Well, I really think when those were made, nobody was meant to follow into the role of Doris Day or Rock
but you
Hudson.
look up to it.
Well, you fantasize about
Right.
it now. I mean, and now you see a lot more of those.
Yes.
Those were movies on
The
big
90s.
screens. And they were not, something you'd see on the Hallmark Channel every night.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a little different in that case. They weren't as frequent. But I don't think that anybody really thought they were going to live the life of Doris Day and Rock Hudson. It just wasn't. That was Hollywood. And that was a fun thing. But in its time, I don't even think it would be relevant today.
I don't know when the shift happened, because then there was all those amazing
Women's Lib.
Nora Ephron.
Yeah,
No, it's
70s.
actually going backwards is what I was going to say Nora Ephron, like in the 90s. We actually had her daughter Hallie on our podcast of like Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally.
But that
You've
was
Got
all
Mail.
after the 70s. That was
I'm
all
saying
after
the
Betty
shift-
Friedan.
Okay, but the shift was we all started to think, oh, that's the kind of romance we should have in our real life. Like that, with those movies, everybody was like, I want to feel like that.
Oh, right.
So you're saying in Hollywood in the 50s and 60s, no one took it
Nobody
as
knew.
serious.
No, everybody knew
but
that
everybody
that was a farce.
takes rom-coms as I want a rom-com. So I was wondering where that shift happened.
I have no idea. And some man who's in a studio who's thinking about making money, because I don't think these things have anything to do with reality. I don't know one person.
I mean,
that
the
had
women,
a relationship
it wasn't just
like that.
like women were writing the stories too.
Yeah, who's ever writing it? It's still in the studio somewhere in Hollywood. They're writing stuff that is just not feasible, but it's fun and enjoyable and lighthearted.
And I think now there's a shift of people. The thing is, you don't want to see realistic always, because the ending might be that they break up.
The ending is realism. So you don't really want to see that. Everybody wants to believe in the fantasy.
That said, there were shows, and we've talked about this before, but like Nobody Wants This, Aaron Foster, who also designed the sweatshirt you're wearing.
Oh, I love this.
Favorite Daughter. That's a favorite grandma sweatshirt if people are just listening. She showed her relationship, the guy she met, and she ended up converting for Judaism for him. You know, the one about the rabbi.
Yes.
He wasn't a rabbi in real life.
But it was a wonderful
it's the idea.
Show. Right.
The relationship she shows, even though there's things that get in the way, they live in, I forgot what the issues were, the religion. And
it was the religion and the mother.
There was a few issues.
The mother was the best thing.
The relationship itself was actually really healthy. So that's like kind of a new wave of, let me show you guys a relationship where they don't act like they hate each other. They actually...
Well, they liked each other, but they had a lot of differences.
Right.
And that was the issue. Now we're going to be in a second season, so we don't know how they're going to resolve it. I'm sure somebody's going to convert. Somebody's going to compromise. There's going to be loads of conversation over this show. But that is, I think people will see those things and it's still going to have a happy ending.
But there are happy endings in real life, but this is a realistic one.
There are. This is somewhat more realistic. But I hope people who are watching us don't think that all the things they see on the phones and on TV are real. They're fragments of reality. Your reality could be very different from all these things. These are actors and actresses and people writing plays and writing short stories who have an agenda. Real life doesn't really follow an agenda, and you don't always know where it's going to take you. So it's important to look for what you want and what you think is right for you. That's a very important thing in my mind, anyway.
Okay, we're going to do Grandma Gail's voicemail. Here's the voicemail, the voice recording that we got this week.
One of many, Kim, I hope.
Yeah.
This is the one you selected. If we can get it, make it louder.
Okay.
Hi, Kim and Grandma Gail. I need some dating advice. I am 26 and I just moved to New York City from the South, and I'm struggling because I feel like none of the guys I'm dating here have manners like they did back home. I'm used to guys pulling out my chair for me, holding the door, stuff like that, and it's not really happening. My friends are telling me that I'm too picky and that I need to lower my standards and realize that I am in this big city now and not back home in the South, but I don't know. These things are important to me. So what do you think? Should I hold out for a guy that has manners in New York, or will I be waiting forever?
All right, I'm going to answer this because I think it's so fun. And I had children who did go to college in the South. It is very different. Relationships and manners that men have been brought up with are very different than the big city of New York and probably New Jersey and Chicago. If it really, you're never going to get the same kind of feeling because they weren't raised in that kind of atmosphere, the men in the city who really are basically New Yorkers who are aggressive and running around. Even if they're not aggressive, they don't have the same background that your Southern gentlemen have. That's always been the case. The South is always the genteel society. If it's very, very important to you, you're going to have to go back down south. And it's nothing wrong with that. There's an awful lot of wonderful Southern communities where you can get a terrific job and end up with a wonderful man from similar background to yourself. It shouldn't be the end-all thing because there's some terrific young men and women in New York that were raised in New York or our big cities. It's just they have a different mindset, a different pace to their lives. So don't give up yet. But if really you find it discouraging, you know what? Pack your bag and go back down south.
I'm going to disagree. I agree that I'm sure people were brought up a different way and it was like a higher up priority for parents to do it that way. But to say that no men in New York City have manners is a crazy statement.
Well, I don't think it's not no men. It's the men she's met.
I think probably. And I think that, one, you shouldn't meet someone if they don't have good manners. They're not going to change their manners.
Right, no question.
But I also think part of it also has to do with age, at least in my experience. I think when you're 22, you're not really thinking like, I'm going to pull her chair out for dinner. And like maybe when you get older, enough girls tell you that you have to, that you kind of learn it. Or you just mature and you're like, okay, I guess I should start acting like how my parents told me to act or what I saw.
I think that's more the case.
That kind of thing. Manners are also really important to me. And it did knock off points from people when they didn't drop me home on the way home, or they didn't text, did you get home okay? Or they didn't pay for the dinner, whatever it was.
I think it's very important. Like, I think she's right. But you know what? Don't give up on New York yet.
Yeah, I think there are 100% people. And I also wouldn't be afraid to, like, once you're dating someone a little bit more, if you like them, to be like, hey, it makes me feel really special when you come around the door for the car and like open the car door for me, or when you open a door for me.
You're not his mother. I don't think you can start teaching people manners.
That. And then they'll do it if they care.
Maybe.
Because, you know, they don't realize it cares to you until you tell them.
Well, I don't think they've been taught to do it. It's a learning experience. And I don't think at the age of 30, you're going to retrain somebody. And I don't think you should, nor should you.
I don't know if it's retraining as much as saying like, hey, this thing's important to me. And then I think they should do it. And if they don't, then you could think.
I also think a lot of women don't want to have their door open. They feel they're
that's
equal.
The thing. And maybe
they're an equal adult. They figure they can open their own door. So it could backfire with a lot of people. If you say this young woman clearly wants that, she has to find a guy that will do it. Right. And there are people out there.
And I think a lot of guys will think like, oh, maybe that's not feminism if I do that because they think I'm going to offend her. Right. So it's that way too. But that's why I think you have to make it clear kind of where
I agree with that, Kim.
Okay, let's play a game of Should We Bring It Back? So let's do some romantic gestures, speaking of the classic days. So bringing flowers to a first date. Did that used to happen, I think.
Yes,
that
did.
Never. If that happened now, you meet someone on a dating app and you show up and they have flowers, that would be unheard of.
Okay. Well, I must say I had it.
Should we bring it back?
Yeah, I think it's nice. No harm in it. It's a bouquet of flowers for $12.
Yeah, I would think, oh my God, you're obsessed with me. It's too much.
Okay.
Opening the car door.
I think it's nice. I don't think it's 100% necessary. I mean, I think, could it come back? It would be very nice to come back.
I think so. But I think we definitely bring that one back. It's just the nice thing to do, especially at night if you're going on a date or somewhere more formal.
I think you're right.
Go around the car and open the car
it's not
door.
that much of an effort.
It's not.
Good idea.
Pulling out a chair.
Definitely. But this all goes back to what they were trained, what young men are trained to do when they're a very young age.
Mm-hmm. What about like when people come over to the table and the men like stand up?
Well, that's just being polite.
Right.
Yeah. Should come back. I don't know. I mean, I still, when I go to places, if I come in to a table, people will stand up.
I guess for you, they haven't gone away, but for young people, they have.
Well, then I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the protocol
I think we bring them
is.
back.
Okay, good.
Opinion. Okay, let's move on to our Ask Grandma Anything. Some quick questions that people wrote in on Instagram. What's something you tell yourself when life gets hard?
What do? I just try to chill out and remember some really dark days, and that things are better now than they were. So there's always dark times, and there are always times that you're sad, but you get over it because you know that there's a rainbow out there. There's the other side of the rainbow.
If you were to live in one place every single day, would you prefer New York, Hamptons, or Florida?
New York.
What quality in your husband was most important as a prospective husband to you?
That he could make a good living.
How do you feel about
Because don't forget, I didn't work.
Right.
And he was the sole, for 80 years, he was the sole party to make a living, and you need a roof over your head.
Yeah.
You need food on the table. So
It's
that was a
crazy how
very big
important
quality. Well, it was a very
had
big.
to be.
It still is.
but
I would
like-
say still in most relationships, there is one person making the most money, and you depend on it. You have children, you have responsibilities.
But it does make sense why, especially like parents and grandparents are constantly like aware of that, because I think that did really have to do with your well-being if the person was making zero money.
Yeah.
Like if you were
Well, you
making
couldn't-
zero money,
Then you
had,
couldn't have, yes, and you have so many of that. And they go on government assistance, and they have, people hopefully who can help them out. It's not an easy life out there if you don't have the ability to pay your rent. Nobody wants to live in a car. And many, many Americans do live in cars and do live in very substandard housing and have children who grow up without food. And so I think we have to know, if we're going to start a relationship with somebody, can we make a good couple to provide for ourselves and a future family? And if you don't see that happening, if a person is lazy or doesn't have any ambition, and you don't, and you care about it, then I would run away.
how do you feel about situationships?
What does
That
that
trend
mean, Kim?
of not being boyfriend and girlfriend,
Oh, yeah,
but
that's too much
basically you get
categories.
everything.
All right, we talked
else.
about that
Yeah.
recently. No, I think it's too many categories. You're either with somebody or not. I don't, once you're really saying I'm dating you and not dating anybody else, I don't know what kind of situation. You don't have to be necessarily engaged or living together, but you have to say, you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend, I want to be with you alone. I don't want to still play the field. If somebody still wants to play the field, then don't put a label on that. Just, you're not together. Together
I
is
think
together.
The problem is when you are just seeing that person, like, and you're not dating other people, but you haven't labeled it yet.
Well,
then-
that is
and that
true.
could happen for a really long time
Yeah.
because you don't have the conversation of, will you be my girlfriend? And then you're just in a
No,
situation.
you are a girlfriend. Will you be my betrothed? Or will you be...
No. Like, there's people I know who've been dating the same person. They're not dating anyone else for, let's say, 3 or 4 months now, but they haven't labeled it yet.
Oh, well,
So you would say they're in a
I can't answer that,
situationship.
Kim. Okay.
You
I
just
think
don't.
there are a lot of labels in this thing.
Yeah. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Everybody, think red and have a good time and have a piece of chocolate cake and champagne on us.
Yes, and happy Valentine's Day for those who are listening the day this comes out.
Yep.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye.